What's up, guys? Welcome to the first edition of Inner Circle UK edition. So I'm here in Harpenden, just outside of London. I've been here for a week now, so it's starting to kind of get settled in, getting used to the snow and things like that, which hasn't been every day, but it's been pretty cool to wake up to a couple of days this week. So yeah, that's what's going on with me, getting things all set up. The new nutrition guide that I talked about in the last video is coming along. That should be probably to you guys maybe next week. Fairly in depth, hopefully going to give you guys a lot of value with that. And then I'll get started on some of those video series that we talked about in order to kind of provide you guys more value. So this week there was just a few things that I kind of wanted to talk about. The first one was something that actually came up in my email over the check-in with one of my clients, Alex, and that was kind of around, I guess, focusing on what's within your control rather than what's outside of your control. Another way to look at this would be having a focus on the process rather than the outcome. So Alex has been killing things lately, but realistically, like if we were to look at scale weight, while there has been a decrease and it's still trending downwards, it hasn't changed massively over that time. Now, in general, for smaller females, that's always going to be the case. We're just not going to see these humongous changes, because if we look at it in terms of like relative wise, like percentage wise, we can't expect to see massive changes. But the main thing that we kind of talked about was that we don't want to get caught up on the specific numbers on the scale, because we also know with Alex in particular, the measurements have been going down, so we'd been seeing progress in that way. Her training performance had been increasing. There'd been a lot of other things that were going really well. Yet she was kind of talking about how it's just something that she gets caught up on, and it's something I see a lot of just being caught up on that specific number on the scale. And so what we want to do is kind of focus on the process rather than the outcome. So that number on the scale would be the outcome. If we have a set, goal weight that we're trying to get to, that's the outcome. And when we focus on that, we're not actually focusing on something that's directly within our control. We're kind of focusing on something that we actually have no control over, and that tends to put more stress on us. We find that stressful when we're not in control of things. So what we want to focus on is what is within our control. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about, what we put in our mouth, how hard we train at the gym, how frequently we make it to the gym, just getting to the gym, our step count, how much time we're spending in bed each night so we can kind of give ourselves the best chance to get enough sleep, getting outside regularly, trying to make time for something during the week that we find enjoyable to kind of help manage stress that also builds up during the week. Those are the kind of things that we can directly control. We can make sure that we're doing those things, and that's part of the process. And by doing those things and by doing the process, we're automatically ensuring that we're moving towards the outcome, but we're in control of those things. And so we focus on those specifically, and we're kind of building these small wins rather than looking at something that we don't have control over, which may not be kind of, moving as fast or in the direction that we'd like straight away, and that we can kind of get disheartened by it. So those are the things that we are in control of, and that's the main kind of message I want to get across, is that we want to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Focus on what's within your control, not what's outside of it. Cool. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about was carb and fat swapping. So this was something that my client James asked me about, which was generally just kind of like, can you swap carbs for fats if you're going out for a meal, or if there is something like a meal that you want, and you have the calories there, but say you don't have enough fats or you don't have enough carbs for that particular meal, is it okay to swap some fats for carbs? And the answer to that is absolutely. So there's nothing magical about the specific macronutrient kind of ratios that we're going off. They're obviously designed with a purpose and reason, and there's a reason that we give specific amounts, specifically protein. That's probably a non-negotiable. But when we talk about the carb to fat ratio, this has a lot more flexibility within it. So let's say that you're someone that you really feel like pasta, but you don't have enough carbohydrates there to have pasta that night, but you have a ton of fat there. Maybe you haven't eaten as much fat during the day. And so in order to kind of be able to fit in that pasta if you want it, you could potentially then reduce fats to increase carbohydrates in that meal. As long as calories were met for that day and that you got sufficient protein in, the fat and carbs are relatively flexible. You don't want to be doing it every day because we want to try and build consistency, and we want to make sure that we're providing enough fat and carbs for their other inherent reasons that we want to be eating it. But every now and again, being able to swap some carbohydrates for some fats is just a really easy way to increase the flexibility with the plan. Allows you to kind of have some of those meals that may be higher in fat or in carbs, which overall just increases adherence and things like that. So typically it's actually a really, I guess, smart and good way to go about things if you are craving something that's inherently a little bit higher in fats or carbs. So yeah, the only non-negotiable protein, making sure we're getting that kind of minimum amount that is set. So that's it for this week. I just wanted to cover those main two things. Like I said, the nutrition guide will be coming soon. If you have any other questions that you want me to answer on these videos, or any topics that you want me to talk about, let me know and I'll get those up. But generally there's going to be a lot more videos providing a lot more value coming to you guys soon. Have another awesome week. Really proud of everyone that's killing it, and I'll talk to you soon.